All right, so Ariel Guttman, right? How did you get into astrology?
Oh, it's an interesting story. I won't bore you with all the details, but a lot of times I like to say that instead of I found astrology, astrology found me. It was one of those magical times of synchronicity where I was searching for something to get into. I was already on a path of studying psychology and languages. I had just returned from a trip abroad and wasn't sure what I was going to do in my early 20s. And astrology came into my life through actually about 4 or 5 different people that were not related at all, but who found their way into my life at that time. The year was 1974. And they all were speaking about astrology in particular ways and piqued my curiosity and interest. And when I saw a course come up at one of the local adult education programs, I signed up for it. And within a year, all of those people had disappeared out of my life, never to be seen again or heard from again. And here I was hooked on a lifelong path.
What is your special focus in astrology? Like, you got evolutionary astrologers, Hellenistic, you got, what type of astrologer are you and what do you work with mostly?
Mostly mythological astrology, and it's because I think that astrology has a great body of mythology contained within its symbolism, and also mythology has a great deal of star lore or mythology, astrology contained within its body of work. And I'm lecturing at this conference right now on the combination of the two, how the two can enhance one another. So mythological themes are what a lot of people refer to as archetypes, archetypal information, and the study of dreams and the interpretation of dreams have all been interesting to me, and I think that they all combine together in a beautiful way in an archetypal language to reveal more about the inner workings of ourselves and, let's say, messages from not only our unconscious but direct links to our soul.
Yeah, Rick Tarnas was saying that astrology is not concretely predictive, it's archetypally predictive.
Yes, and to elaborate, Rick Tarnas, let me tell you, has written what I consider the most important book in astrology to come along ever in our field, Cosmos and Psyche, and he does mention the idea of archetypally predictive, and that's true. And I think what I mean by that and what he means by that is that when we know the archetype, when we can recognize the archetype, for instance, the archetype of Saturn, the archetype of Pluto, the archetype of Mars or Venus, or whatever it is we're working with, whatever principle we're working with, if we know what the archetype contains and how it acts, of course there's 1,000 or maybe even more manifestations of that archetype. We can't always know. For instance, it's just like knowing your mother really well. You can archetypally predict her, maybe not concretely, but you kind of know what she's going to say, you kind of know what she's going to do, you kind of know how she's going to respond to situations. So in a sense, I think as we get to know the archetypes of the planetary scheme and the zodiac, the same thing is possible. But there's a lot of room within that. I don't believe it takes away our free will or our choice.